Hello, everyone. I'm Associate Professor Chrissy Fediara of the Griffith University School of Medicine in the Gold Coast, Australia. I'm also the president and founder of the OCI Foundation. We're going to talk about a health lecture on breast cancer and ways to prevent it. It's a focus on the Am I Youth Health campaign, which is an OCI Foundation's health initiative against breast and cervical cancers for Nigerian youths. The OCI Foundation stands for the Onyebuchi Chrissy Fediara Foundation. There will be details at the end of this lecture or maybe online. A bit of a scope of what we're going to cover. First, we're going to go through an introduction, which looks at cancer statistics in Nigeria, along with the basics of breast cancer and some useful facts against the cancer. Then we'll be looking at risk factors, signs and symptoms, and solutions, particularly with reference to the OCI Foundation, its role in this cancer, the Am I Youth Health campaign, and the Survey Breast phone application, which is free for everyone to download. On breast cancer, we're going to be looking at now, a bit of a background here. It's a cancer that affects breast tissue, so it can affect men. Anyone with a breast can get breast cancer, including men. Although less than 1% of the cases occur in men. In 2015, nearly over half a million people died from breast cancer, 571,000 to be precise. The incidence has gone up over the years. In 1960, it was about 1 in 20 women gets this cancer, but currently it's 1 in 8 women. It's more common in countries that are developed, the Caucasian countries. But in African countries like Nigeria, it's also beginning to increase, possibly because we're adopting lifestyles that suits, the Western lifestyle. Like, some women in Nigeria, a good number smoke. Some don't get married on time or delay their marriages or delay having children, possibly because of education and career and all that. So all this contribute. But unfortunately for us, the survival rates are lower, among Nigerians. For instance, only 1 in 10 women affected with this cancer in Nigeria will survive. So if you have 10 women with the cancer, only about 1 will survive. Overseas, in developed countries, about 7 out of 10 women will survive. So we need to do something for ourselves. Unfortunately, given that we do not have government-sponsored programs that help us protect against these cancers, like you have in Australia here or any other part of the developed world. In 2018, there were about 26,310 cases and 11,564 people died of this cancer. It's the worst, cause of cancer deaths in Nigeria. It kills. It reduces life expectancy. It's common only in the women in their early 40s, between 42 to 44. But those under 40 with this cancer have a very poor outcome. So we need to do everything possible to protect against it. It can also be found in young people. In Nigeria, it's been reported in someone as young as 16 years old and someone as old as 96 years old. As a matter of fact, about 12% of these cancers occur in women under the age of 30. So even if you're young here, you should pay attention. About 3% occur in those under 25 and about 1% occur in those under 20, which are teenagers rather. In a developing country like Nigeria, there are no other ways to prevent against this cancer, and early screening and detection is vital. If detected early, it's good news. If picked up early, about 90% will survive. Okay, but if picked up late, only 56% may survive. In Nigeria, unfortunately, only 7% with symptoms that indicate breast cancer see a doctor within 1 month. So majority of them delay, which is because of ignorance, and that's part of why we're doing this. About 70% wait for at least 3 months before skin treatment. And remember, we need, at that stage, it's already late. We need to do something differently. So let's first of all identify the risk factors. What are the things that put you at risk of this cancer? The major risk factors, gender, being a woman, obviously, because we have bigger breasts, that age, those under the, it's usually on women over the age of 40. Like I said, if under the age of 40, the risk of dying from it is higher. Genetics, family history. So people with family history, mom, sister, auntie with breast cancer have a 10% chance, has a higher chance of this cancer. With only 10% of these cases happen in family history. So even if you don't have a family history, there's still that risk. So being white, Caucasians have a higher risk. But like I said, the risk from blacks are also catching up with this. Personal history, if you've had breast cancer before, you have a great chance of picking it up again. Some other risk factors, that's popular, not as common as those ones, having your menstruation start early before the age of 11 or later than 55, having longer periods of menstruation puts you at risk of this cancer. Not having children at all or having your first child after the age of 30 puts you at risk. It doesn't mean it's absolute. It doesn't mean you get the cancer, but it could increase the risk a bit. Not breastfeeding at all, taking the pill, getting a lot of weight. Now I'm going to rush through this because of time, but you can always download the Savvy Breast app and get as much information as you want. Lack of physical activity, drinking a lot of alcohol, smoking, all this increase the risk, but not as much as the ones we talked about before. So screening, how do you prevent this? We've talked about lifestyle as a preventive measure. Now it's broken into some age brackets for those between the ages of 20 and 39 or younger in developing countries. Do monthly breast self-examination, which is BSC. There are techniques on the app. When you download it, you'll see what I mean. And also clinical breast exam. So monthly breast self-examination is the one you do by yourself in your room. The clinical breast exam is done by a doctor, and we recommend that every 1 to 3 years. For the self-breast exam, it's every month. For women over the age of 40, do the monthly breast self-exam. Clinical breast exam by a health professional every year, at least once a year, and then screen. You'll go for mammogram, X-ray, or ultrasound. Starting from the age of 40, if possible. Do this every 2 years. But for those with increased risk, like we've mentioned, those with family history or those with past breast cancer, you do this often, or discuss with your doctor. Consider starting early to screen. Instead of age of 40, you can start early. And then consider seeing a doctor more frequently to get the screening done. Breaststroke examination, I've talked about it, but it's very important. I mentioned that, make it part of your monthly routine. Find the right technique, download the app. The videos are there, acted by top Nollywood actresses in Nigeria. But note that breast examination itself does not reduce breast cancer. It helps you become breast aware, pick up know your breast and pick up changes soon. And most lumps you'll find if you do this will not be cancerous. So do not panic. It just helps you get used to your breast, by improving your awareness to it. I've made the recommendations earlier on, but download the app. I keep repeating it because it's life-saving and it is free. Through your Android or iPhone, it's available on both. So strategies for this: screening, breast preventive lifestyle, being breast aware, which we've already talked about. Unfortunately, these screens are not free in Nigeria. The costs are beyond most women and most diagnoses are late. Again, preventive lifestyles, be breast aware. Download the app and see what I mean. The OCI Foundation is bridging this gap. Again, we are an international NGO in Australia and Nigeria fighting breast and cervical cancers in Nigeria since 2017. We promote the Arm Our Youth Health campaign to fight this in Nigerian senior secondary schools. So this is an interface. So, we'll run through this. We're not going to go into details, but again, the app will tell you about it. So this is the phone interface. Download it, and then you can log in with either your existing Facebook account or Google account, or you can create your own account. So this is all the interface. So stay in touch with us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. And thank you very much for listening.